This free step-by-step video comes to you directly from Haynes, creators of the world's best repair manuals. Fix your car or truck the right way with our accurate and reliable information at your side. You can complete more than 200 jobs on this vehicle when you purchase the complete online manual at Haynes.com.
Pull the hood release lever located on the driver's side kick panel. Lift the hood safety latch and raise the hood upwards, then support it with the prop rod. Loosen the cable clamp nut. Then disconnect the negative battery cable from the terminal. Secure the cable aside to prevent accidental reconnection. Drain the cooling system. Apply the parking brake. Block the rear wheels. Slowly unscrew the radiator cap. If you hear a hissing sound, indicating there's still pressure in the system, wait until it stops. Then remove it. Remove the lower engine splash shield. Move a large container under the radiator drain to catch the coolant. Open the radiator drain fitting and direct the coolant into the container. Perform the following steps to remove the air filter housing assembly. Disconnect the electrical connector from the intake air temperature sensor. Loosen the clamp at the throttle body. Detach the PCV hose from the air filter housing. Then detach the fresh air duct from the housing. Remove the two air filter housing mounting bolts. Remove the air filter housing assembly from the engine. Detach the wiring harnesses from the brackets and disconnect the coolant hoses from the front of the thermostat housing. Expect some coolant loss as the hoses are disconnected. Also, remove the bolt retaining the wiring harness above the thermostat housing. Remove the thermostat housing cover mounting bolts. Separate the thermostat housing cover from the housing. Notice that there are still a couple of hoses connected to the rear of the cover. Disconnect the remaining coolant hoses from the cover, then remove it. Noting how it's installed, remove the thermostat from the housing. Remove all traces of old gasket material from the thermostat housing, mating surfaces, fasteners, and bolt holes. Install a new sealing ring onto the thermostat. Apply a bead of RTV sealant around only the water outlet portion of the thermostat housing cover. Make sure to wait the recommended time for the RTV sealant to cure before refilling the cooling system once the cover is installed. Insert the thermostat into the housing. Make sure that the air bleed valve is positioned at the top and the spring end of the valve is directed toward the engine. Install the thermostat cover and mounting bolts. Be careful not to smear the pre-applied sealant on the cover when maneuvering it into the engine. Tighten the thermostat housing cover bolts to the specified torque setting. Connect the various coolant hoses to the housing cover and secure them with the hose clamps. Attach the wiring harnesses to the retaining clips, then install the upper wiring harness retaining bolt and tighten it securely. Perform the following steps to install the air filter housing assembly. Install the air filter housing assembly into the engine. Connect the intake port onto the throttle body, then the breather hose, followed by the intake air temperature sensor at the rear. Connect the fresh air inlet duct, then install the housing mounting bolts. Tighten the bolts securely. Tighten the hose clamp and throttle body securely. Install the engine cover. Connect the negative battery cable to the terminal and tighten the cable clamp nut securely. Refill the cooling system. Close and tighten the radiator drain fitting. If the lower engine cover was removed, install it now. Make sure the heater temperature control is in the maximum heat position. Slowly refill the radiator with the correct type of coolant until coolant reaches the lip on the radiator filler neck. Also add coolant to the reservoir up to the lower mark. Install the radiator cap. Start and run the engine in a well-ventilated area until the thermostat opens. Coolant will begin flowing through the radiator and the upper radiator hose will become hot. Rev the engine to approximately 2500 RPM for 10 seconds. Then let it idle. Do this a few times. Turn the engine off and let it cool. Remove the radiator cap and add more coolant mixture to bring the level back up to the lip on the radiator filler neck. Squeeze the upper radiator hose to expel air, then add more coolant mixture as necessary. Install the radiator cap. Double check the level in the reservoir, adding coolant if necessary. The level will vary with the temperature of the engine and should be between the maximum and minimum lines printed on the reservoir tank. Install the reservoir cap securely.